this session on learning through play. It kind of fits quite well in terms of, obviously, we've looked at developing movement skills and working with a younger age group to ensure we develop those key skills. So play, is one of the avenues in which movement skills can be developed, whether that's in free play or structured play. So throughout this session, I'm going to give you some information and overview of what play involves. Look at it more in a structured environment in terms of play development programs and motor development programs, but then also give you some practical ideas on how to bring your sessions to life through the use of imagination and play. So what is play? Free play basically enhances creativity, healthy brain development, social skills like conflict resolution, self-advocacy and emotional well-being and the development of those key elements. Movement is about children moving in specific ways as they go through the development sequence and significant movement patterns that link the body and the brain together. So this will include early reflexes, sense of movement, and it basically is a route to learning through the body. Movement and sensory experiences are crucial for the child's social, emotional, and behavioural development and learning. So, we've talked about developing movement skills and the importance of these movement skills. We can also see that play has a great responsibility or great impact in actually developing key elements in terms of child development, but also linking to those key movement skills. Research indicates that free play is essential to the cognitive, physical, social and emotional well-being of youth. Play enhances creativity and healthy brain activity. So without play, neural pathways for controlling impulses and emotions fail to develop normally. This is Ginsberg, 2007. Experimental studies with animals have shown that depriving them of play severely cripples their emotional development. So, if these studies have been conducted with animals and that has the impact on them in terms of free play, how is that going to impact on children if we don't allow them to play and learn through play? Undirected play allows for children to learn to work in groups, to share, to negotiate, to resolve conflicts and to learn self-advocacy skills. So when play is child-driven, children engage in decision-making and discover their own interests and passions. Most of us cherish the simple joys of play and experience that we had as when we were children. So this is very much focused on free play and play. If you go to the park and playing with your friends, play can also feature in development in a more structured program through movement skill development programs. So we can play games, use their imagination and engage and let them use a more guided discovery style of learning to actually kind of replicate this play scenario. So play in early years. Children's play is primarily the mode by which children learn about their bodies and their movement capabilities. So before we actually put kids in activity programs, that through their experiences of play with themselves, with others, with their friends, with their siblings, this is where you're going to start to learn about how their body works and moves. It serves as an important facilitator for the cognitive and affective growth in young children, as well as important means of developing both fine and gross motor skills. So we talked about movement skills and motor skill development, but in a kind of structured program-centric way. We also have the means of developing these gross and fine motor skills through free play. Play serves as a vital means by which higher cognitive structures are gradually developed. So again, looking back to previous weeks, we've looked at learning and how the brain develops, and children learn through experience and development of motor programs, and play has a really great impact in enabling that learning through experience. So if we look at play in early years, if children are able to balance, then they will be able to control their bodies in movement and stillness, and therefore be more capable of sitting when needed to and concentrating on more sedentary tasks such as reading and listening, or writing skills. So in terms of a school context, and in terms of when kids actually move into sort of nursery and a reception and preschool and those environments, the play scenario, the skills that have been developed through play, such as balance, will enable them to help them with other skills that they're going to need, such as concentrating and sitting and doing key tasks. Blythe 2004 is concerned about the number of children starting school who are unable to sit or stand up straight or hold a pencil. All are indicative of poor physical development and are likely to influence their progress and achievement in various areas of learning, including literacy and numeracy. So if children experience difficulties in sitting still or has poor posture or poor coordination, this means they need to be given more opportunities or more movement activities. So when we're working with young children, even before they get into that kind of school development stage, and some of those learning skills they're going to need, play and programming these types of activities is going to enable and help children in lots of other areas. So looking at the development of movement programs, so if you've got two forms of play, you've got the very informal, going to the local park and playing, kids having a play day, that kind of stuff where kids are playing together. Whether that's, learning to share and cooperate, communicate, all those key skills, but also still developing those fine and gross motor skills. What we also need to be thinking about is development of movement programs, where we start to look in more specific detail, actually developing those key movement skills identified in that, base of the mountain range in terms of those motor skills. So play programs or movement programs need to develop plenty of opportunities for gross play and must be offered in both indirect and direct settings. So, that more structured program is a direct setting. Movement experience should stress the movement, exploration, problem-solving activities to maximise the child's creativity and desire to explore. So we should give them tasks within our sessions and programming that enables them to make decisions for themselves and problem-solve and explore. The programme should include lots of positive reinforcement to encourage the establishment of healthy self-concept and reduce fear of failure. So again, the focus of delivery when we're working with this age group should be a very encouraging and positive environment with lots of praise given throughout. Programmes should focus on developing the variety of fundamental movement skills. So rather than going through, those specific sport-specific sessions, the sessions should be very much delivered in a movement skill across the spectrum in a fun, engaging environment. Other things to consider, plenty of activities designed specifically to enhance perceptual motor functioning. Advantage should be taken of the child's great imagination through the use of assortment of activities including drama, imagery, using storytelling to deliver sessions. Could even use books to actually engage the kids in a session. So provide a variety of activities that require object handling and hand-eye coordination. So it's about developing, those key movement awareness skills that have been discussed. The programme should encourage children to overcome self-consciousness by letting them to take part in activities where they can show and tell others what they've done. So it's about sharing that information. So, if we're learning a skill, someone does it well, can you show the group your skill? Oh, that's really good, well done. How did you do this? And get them talking as well, even at this young age. So the programme should also look to reinforce good posture and positive statements, provide individual differences and allow for children to progress at their own rate. So it's not just a group activity where everyone progresses at the same rate. We have individual differences where we can challenge kids that need to be challenged, but also then bring it back a level to kids who may be struggling with certain skills. The programme should be very prescriptive based on each individual's developmental needs and level. We should also be looking to establish standards of acceptable behaviour. An activity programme could be the first kind of structured environment a 3-4-year-old experiences in terms of group setting. So setting what standards of what is acceptable and not acceptable is going to really help their development. A multi-sensory approach should be applied. A wide variety of experiences using several sensory modalities is important. So just get into, again, touching in with their imagination. It's around, getting them to use sounds, getting them to use their voices, getting them to use their, kinesthetic feeling, visual, and tapping into all those different senses to really build from that. I mean, there's lots of different ways this can be done through play, whether it's getting kids to, discuss what animals are maybe in the zoo, if you're doing a zoo activity, and pretend to be those animals and make noises and so forth. Whether it's actually getting them to imagine there's something, and acting out a role. And so there's definitely lots of different things we need to be thinking about to develop this multi-sensory approach. So we can deliver play-based sessions by using, the child's imagination, using stories and bringing sessions to life. We can bring sessions to life and tap into all of the areas, linked to the child's development. We're now going to run through a series of examples that look at the practical application of learning through play and story and imagination-based activities.